Yeah, hello, my people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching Chinedu ANICHI TV from. My name is Chinedu ANICHI, your one and only celebrity CSO and the African voice in diaspora. Yeah, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Chinedu ANICHI TV family, those in Asia, those in America, those in Australia, those in Africa, those in Nigeria, those in Enugu, those in Nsukka, my own place, City Dekarmon. Today is Otobo Nsukka, and lucky enough, we have one of our fathers, one of our uncles, one of our elites, one of those who have dedicated their lives, especially the youthful part of their life, the most important of the service of our great nation, Nigeria, both within the country and outside the country. So today, we are privileged to have Major General Chris Eze, retired, a former um, ambassador of Nigeria to India. Former this, former that. I don't need to mention all those things. When he comes up, he will introduce himself perfectly. But I am privileged to welcome Chinedu ANICHI TV, Otobo Nsukka, Major General Chris is because he wrote a new book. And that is the reason we are inviting him. He will explain some of the things, the intention, and the implication, because the book is not just the letter words, it will come to spirit as we assimilate it when we read it, and we manifest it in our character. So it is a gospel he has decided to preach, and today is live to explain it to us. So may I have the privilege to invite Major General Christ, who is a retired, to Chinedu ANICHI TV. God bless you, my people. Stay tuned. Yeah.
Well, anybody, no,
Thank
uh,
you.
I'm going to, I'm
Sorry.
going to,
Good
I'm going
evening.
to speak in English. That is both English and Igbo. And when I come to Igbo, no, on Nsukka, them they go jaso, maka no, on Nsukka, be mune
Yes,
greeting.
but ị ga na-agwa
That
maka na
is okay. Nsukka people are my primary audience.
yes,
And then those people that sympathize with that empathize with the plight of Nsukka are also welcome. I wrote a book, a very small book. It's just about 112 pages. But I'm going to write a second edition, which is going to be more comprehensive. Because we are in an evolving situation, political situation, social situation, economic situation. I could even be updating the book periodically. So after the second edition, the third edition could come, but it depends on whether developments warrant it.
okay.
Now,
General, please, in our
yeah,
protocol,
yeah,
please
mm,
introduce yourself formally.
yes. I am very sorry. My name is Major General Chris Eze, um, and I was born in 1953. I'm going to be 71 years old on the 25th July. I joined the Nigerian Defense Academy on the 4th of July 1974. On the 19th of July this year, we're going to have the 50th anniversary of our induction into the Defense Academy. And I thank God that I am alive. 74 of us entered the Defense Academy, and 37 of us are alive now. So, which means that exactly 50% of us are gone. It is not because there were better people than us. It is simply that everybody has the destiny that has been prepared for him. Why I'm saying that is that if I do not devote the rest of my life, however long it pleases God to give it to me, to serving my people in a better way, in a more effective way, then it will be, my life would have been in vain. Now, the existential threat that is facing us is what I just wrote about. right, I said I went to the Defense Academy. I went to the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. I was commissioned there. I came back, and then in the course of my career, I went to the National Defense College. Now, these are the three major um, um, highlights in my career development. I have held several command, staff, and instructor appointments in the Army. And when I left the Army, I joined politics. And in the course of my joining politics, I was made the High Commissioner of Nigeria to India with concurrent accreditation uh, to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. I stayed there from 2017 to 2020. What qualified me to be made that High Commissioner was that I was in APC. But when I came back and saw the way APC was going, I resigned from the APC, even though it was and still remains the ruling party, and then joined the Peter Obi's Obedient Movement and Labour Party. That is where I am, and that is what is today. That's what gave me the insight into the thoughts that I've expressed in my book. So when we come to the book, we will now examine what is inside and then what I intend to achieve by that. Thank you very much. I'm from Umundu. I'm from Umundu in Udenu local government area. Very few people know Umundu. So sometimes we say, oh, we're from Obolap. Well, Obolap. Umundu is the next village after Obolap. So that is the much that I can say in this at this introductory level. Thank you very much.
That's
Hello?
great. Thank you for the very summarized and articulate introduction. So, because before we dive into the book properly, um, there is normally the kind of things we do when people come. You have been able to tell us, introduce yourself properly. But as Nigerians are listening to you, as Nsukka people are listening to you, and other people, there is no glory without a story.
Okay.
So, what is the point in this life which you think, if you were stagnated at that point, it will not be reconcilable with where you are now? Share it with us so that some other people can be consoled and believe that the future is bright for them.
Please take that again. So let me see what
I said that in every glory there is a story.
Oh, yes.
So at which point can you remember in your life that if such things you have to be trapped or stagnated in that circumstance, you will not be where you are?
Oh, okay. Well, the struggles of life are a continuum. You know that. Yes. I want to put my life in context. My father was a taxi driver, and but he was also part of the elite in his own time. Then after the Civil War, a whole lot of people who were up were brought down, some of us at our tender ages were now given challenges, as to what you could do to contribute to keeping the family afloat. That was how I joined the army. Otherwise, actually, I would have gone to university, but I joined the army. That was in 1974, like I said, because I thought it was a quicker career path. So but when I joined the army, by the grace of God, I succeeded in that place. Now, the different challenges that that have shaped my attitude to life, I think that is what you asked, right? Sure. The different challenges that have shaped my attitude to life. There is nobody that does not know that by the 70s, just after 4 years after the war, when we joined the army, we came with a collective chip on our shoulders as having come from the defunct Biafra, and the integration into the system, whether military, whether bureaucratic, whether it's only in economics that I think that we have integrated to a certain extent into the system, but that is in the informal sector of the economy. No, so I cannot say that when you have integrated system into the real sector of the economy, which everybody knows, the conglomerates, the banking system, the manufacturing, and all that. So, but it's a gradual process, and what I saw in the army also uh, uh, kind of I kind of conditioned the way that I look at life, which is to say that contributing in any small way that I can to accelerate, if possible, that reintegration process is a big motivator, and that is where P2B comes in, because others had done tried to do that before him, and now he is the one that is carrying the torch now. So because of where I come from, the background that I come from, I don't think that it is necessary for me to be relating all the experiences that I had then, but I think people can understand. Mm.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now,
Yeah,
let's come to the point while we're here.
yeah, yeah,
You wrote a book, and
yeah,
it is we know that different gospels or different ideologies are sold either in print or visually or vocally.
yeah,
So today you are preaching a gospel or selling an ideology in print.
yes,
You know the implication because you have just tried or you have just sustained intergenerational conversation
yeah,
between your experience in your generation and the younger generation. And the
yeah,
tendency of handing it over to another generation is there because of
yeah,
proper storage.
yeah.
So, are you confident that this book we're going to discuss today create a
Well,
positive in society?
okay, I think it is the people that will read the book uh, that will say whether it deserves going into being described the way that you did. But if I can draw an analogy from literature, there's this book called The Palm Wine Drinkard, which was written by Amos Tutuola, and it was written in Pidgin, when Pidgin, it's not even Pidgin, when Pidgin had not fully developed. But it is now entered into the genre of Nigerian literature because it was a pioneering effort. Why I'm saying that is um, those who read the book, I wrote it in the book that it's not a treatise, it's not a thesis, that the way you could write it in a university. It's a narrative. And if I can draw another incident again, anybody that is interested in history, if you read the history of the Peloponnesian War by Thucydides, yeah, he said in the introduction that that he was an eyewitness, to what he was describing. So following the reactions to the book, like I said, I'm going to write a second edition, and that second edition I think will be fuller. The research will be more, but this is a seminal idea because I had not seen anything like that, and I said, okay, let me not allow the scarcity of authorities that I could cite, to dissuade me from writing the book. So it is going to be a continuous developmental process. But the main theme of the book, no matter how well or badly written it is, it identifies an existential threat to Nsukka people. Nsukka people, by Nsukka people, I mean Nsukka cultural group, Nsukka cultural zone. which is the 6 local governments of what they call the Enugu North Senatorial District now, and Ihamufu, they are well, and Isuza. Isuza is a harmful Mero. He came, Lake, and all of us know where it is. They were yanked out from us purely for gerrymandering, during the great, when Abakaliki was excised and joined with other people to join Ebonyi State. And we who formed the minority are not giving our pride of place in our own state, and it is something that we must address. That is why I wrote the book. So the stylistics of the book should matter less than the message that it is conveying. You understand? Okay.
Wow, that's great. It's true that you are a military officer, battle tested, but
Yeah.
the way you explain the appraiser you give this
Mm.
literature, it's as if you are one of the lecturers in one of the departments of literature. So, sir, the name of the book you are coming to discuss today is The Obedient Revolution and the Redefinition of Politics in a Nsukka Cultural School.
Yeah. Yeah,
Please,
that is true.
I know this topic is a summary
Mm.
of what is in that book.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us why and how the
Okay.
book came to impact in the life of
Okay. Thank you. Now, in the book is that is the title, and the book I explained in the introduction that the book is written not as an academic treatise, but as what the military calls a service paper. A service paper is a paper that looks at a subject and analyzes the subject and draws conclusions and makes recommendations for how that problem is to be solved. Now, a service paper ab initio uh, assumes that the person for whom the paper is written is familiar with the subject. So because of that, you don't have so much conceptual discourse, so much literature review, so much citing of references and all that. And why I did that is because I know that since it is written primarily for Nsukka people, that there is nobody that is not aware of what we have been going through. We used to form 54% of the Enugu population, and that is the cultural zone that I'm talking about. And then the other 46%, out of 17 local governments, we have 6. We have 7 if you add the issues with whom we were 54% of the population. And then the 46% have 10 local governments. It doesn't make it shouldn't make sense. But unfortunately, by the time the Ebonyi State was being created, we didn't have anybody amongst us, any of our leaders in favor then under the Abacha administration. So that gerrymandering has done a serious harm to us. And as I explained in the book, if things were done the way they were to be done, nobody would bother about that. But anybody that reads the book will understand that it is the fundamental problem that we had, structurally. We have a structural problem, and there's no way that we can address that problem except by structurally. And that structural solution has a short run and a long run. The short run is that we must do everything possible to get somebody who empathizes with us as the governor of Enugu State in 2027. We got one in 2023, but everybody knows the kind of shenanigans that went on, and then it ended the way it ended. And I said in the book that the mechanics of what happened is not the subject of the book, but it is the effect. So all of us are suffering the effect, and we must come together to see that we change that paradigm. That's number one. Number two is that ihe na-eme anyị nchi anyị n'aka. Number two is that it is people amongst us who did not understand what they were doing. Like Jesus Christ said, forgive them for they know not what they have done. You know, so people amongst us that didn't understand what they were doing, who who refused to understand what was the basic driving force of the elections of 2023. Before 2023, elections used to be conducted on party basis. But in 2023 in Enugu State, some people now drove it out of party parameters to a cultural struggle. And some people from our place who were influential, did not understand it from that paradigm. And now all of us are suffering, including them, because even the people that they have to come into power don't even recognize that they are of any consequence because of where they come from. Now, this is the short term. Now, the long term is if the National Assembly is serious about creating state, and then they give us Adada state. Adada state is synonymous with Nsukka Cultural Zone. Then we can now define our identity, and we can now define our future. So that is the summary. That's the synopsis that I can give to what the book is talking about. So if you have read the book, I know. So if there are specific areas in it that anybody wants a further clarification on, I will give that. But that's the central thesis. Thank you.
Wow, that's where. So this is deep. This is deep. This
Yeah.
book is deep. This book is deep because it deals with the people.
Yeah.
It has a defined audience
Yeah.
that need to act
Yes.
either for or against themselves. Because
Yeah, that is true.
there's a word you used that says "Yeremanyisha."
Yes, that is true.
It's a serious word. And if if suggestions you made in this book is to be followed, it will exonerate us or deliver us from Yeremanyisha.
Yeah.
So I thank you for going that way. This issue of Yeremanyisha, what does this book suggest?
Well, what the book
That will make
suggests
us
is
to come out of this web.
yes. What the book suggests is the last chapter of the book is recommendations, and those recommendations are concrete recommendations. And I think there are about 8 of them, but they are anchored on I think 3 main points. The first one is that those that want to continue to try to separate our identity from issues, their attempts must be resisted, both by those of us in the rest of Nsukka and by issues of people themselves. You know, when they were corralled into Enugu East Senatorial Zone in 1999, 1999 to now is 25 years. They have not held any position. They have not. None of them has been a chief of staff. None of them has been a secretary to the government. Even at Enugu State, secretary to the government. None of them has been a senator. They have an alternating House of Reps issues and Enugu East, and that is where it ended. They have had an ambassador. I was also an ambassador. I don't consider an ambassador is a very prestigious position, but an ambassador has very limited, if any, powers at all to influence what happens at home to the benefit of any other person. I was in India. it's the Nigerians in India that were my constituency. None of them has been the head of a parastatal, you know, at the federal level. None of them has been a permanent secretary at the federal level. In fact, Albert Namani was a director, I think, in the Ministry of Power, in the Ministry of Solid Minerals. I remember that, you know. And when it came the time for him to become a permanent secretary, some other person that was far, 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 far below him, you know, in the same Enugu state, was brought from Enugu Civil Service and then made the permanent secretary. All these ones are documented facts. So there is nothing, you know. So that's number one. We must know that we sink or swim together. That is Ainende issues. That's number one. Number two is continuous education. Continuous education of both our elite and our non-elite. You know, on two bases. One is to reinforce that bond, and then the second one is for them not to be disillusioned, not out of disillusionment because they gave a mandate to Chijoke Doga and it was snatched from them. Then come the next election, they will say, "Oh, it is our duty to continue to educate them." That is the second one. You understand? Then the third one, all the other things that I suggested can now come into the third one, chief of which is, you know, we must cut off the youth from these Uncle Toms. Uncle Toms is what I call them. You know the history of Uncle Tom in slavery in America. You know. So they bring one person and one black guy, and they say, "Oh, you are the head of all the blacks, and it is the job of that black guy to if he sees anybody in a plantation, if he sees anybody that is getting too big for his britches, it is the same his fellow slave. It is he that is going to report to the white or to the white boss, you know, and then later all of them. I articulated all that in the book. You understand? So we must understand that we are doomed to perdition unless we come together. Those are the three central messages of. And if we bet all other people who are watching this, if they have any other contribution to make, and then the fourth one, the fourth one is that we must try to recreate this elders, honest elders council that we used to have during the old days of the Wodos, the DCOGOs, you know, the Charles Abang with them. You know, how can the tail be wagging the dog? How? Where? So I am using this medium to challenge all these people who think that they're, you know, that their self projection, self actualization, they are becoming somebody is because they have they must look for mentors and sponsors from outside the Nsukka zone. What kind of rubbish is that? How can anybody that you serve, if the person views governance as a zero-sum game, how do you think that he will empower you to come and be at par with him or to overtake him? How? This is a very, 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 you see the way I'm talking. This is a very passionate subject with me. You understand? Because God has blessed me, and I don't depend on anybody to meet my needs. So the only thing that I can bequeath to the next generation is to try as much as possible to make them realize their innate and latent potential. You understand? No, I'm done for now. Carry on.
This is deep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the book is not big, but what the book contains is very from your
What the book? The book.
and some of part of it is deep. especially
Yes.
there is an expression
Yes.
who attested to that book, those who wrote the forward and all these things.
Yes.
So the attestation was about your person,
Yes.
the courage. I know you come from a formation that you know has trained you to be courageous, but due to political influence and some other influences in Nigeria, certain people who have been in your position, they don't practically demonstrate that courage. But
Thank you.
this time, this book reveals your internal disposition is underlined by unconditional courage.
Yes. Thank
First
you.
of all, from a selfless point, because you are not seeking for anything.
Mm, mm.
Second time is for you, you don't want to leave the stage of this earth without impacting the truth on the next generation.
Yes, that
That
is
was the
true.
testimony of the man who wrote the Bible.
Yeah,
So,
that's Ikebo, yes.
yeah, that is what he said. And considering what you're saying, I
Mm,
know that a lot of people who are not patriotic, and Nsukka patriotic, parenthesis,
mm,
this book will not go down with them.
mm,
This kind of people,
mm.
how are we going to manage them?
Okay, it's a very good question. And how we are going to manage them is that they will implode if they have not already imploded. You know, what are they standing on? They were standing on the commercialization of politics. And I all these things that I'm saying are things that I have already articulated in that book. You know, and the man who is at the helm of affairs now, the governor, has a different approach to governance from the former one that he replaced. You understand? So the governor, that Ashwa and then Rashi lubrication is no longer there, and but the governor's style is his style. And why I'm saying that is that the people that were doing what they were doing, they were not doing it because they saw any merit in it. They were doing it because of what Fayoshe called the small stomach infrastructure. So you can't build anything on nothing. That's number one. Number two, I edited that book very, 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 very thoroughly to see. I gave the book to more than 3 lawyers. Tell me if there is any place where anybody can say that I libeled him or slandered him. And there is nothing there at all. So there's nothing that they can do. And as for courage, I dedicated the book, or when I was, I dedicated the book to my family and all that. But in the acknowledgement, I said it there that I am, part of that, the person who motivated me by the doggedness, his own doggedness in fighting for Nsukka court is Okeza. Okeza is not as old as I am. When I retired as a major general, I followed Oke, who was much younger than me. And before he became a senator, one could say that if we came to a public occasion, that in order of a protocol, that maybe I could be recognized before him. But I followed him because he was fighting a cause, which is still fighting till today. And I said it in that book. You know, I quoted Franklin Roosevelt. You know, Roosevelt came to power in 1933 after after the Great Depression. And he said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So our people who parade their doctorate degrees, who say they are professors and all that, and they cannot stand out for anything, doesn't make sense. So this book that I have written, no matter how small it is, if it pushes or even if it's only two of them, to know that the imaginary things that they are fearing doesn't mean it is actually they themselves that give thanks to the snakes that they are fight that they are fearing will bite them. So if they go away, the snakes will have no thanks at all. How can you surrender the life of a majority, the destiny of a majority to a minority? How? In a democratic dispensation? How? You understand? So I don't have any what you are saying. In fact, it's an aberration, really. It's an aberration that somebody could ask a question as to why somebody who comes from a majority of a constituency in a democratic process should have the courage to articulate the interests of that majority. Can you go to Kaduna and ask the northern Kaduna people why, if somebody were to write a book on Kaduna, or you go to Benue and the chief man was to write a book on the politics of Cleveland, and then you are asking him, well, how he got the courage. So part of this is a seminar work. I'm going to develop this work, and it is going to be, bigger in volume, because I didn't know that this much interest is going to be there. So I am going to write and write and write on this thing. And anybody, I'm sure this is an open medium. So I'm sure that those people who are afraid of their shadows are also listening to this. So as far as I'm concerned, it is either they shape up or they shape out, because they shape up or they shape out because their time is gone. You understand? Politically.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's just what you say now that struck me, and this takes me to a point where my last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
distinguished Senator Keza, I invited him to this show, and he was here live.
Oh, great.
So he was here live, and there's an issue he explained here. Because of your courage, I have to bring it up.
Okay.
He said that I asked him as a senator, there was a demolition of Ogidi Market that was viewed from majority of the people from Nsukka, that it is an infringement on the constitutional right of the people. First of all, because of the shortness of the notice and the modus operandi, the mode of operation applied to demolition without an alternative place that they can move the people from there. And this has resulted to different kind of things. About last time I had Mama G in this show, Mama G said we have lost about 9% of the market. So I asked Okeza, as the senator representing Igbo MC, I'm seeing you. I'll bring you up at okay. So I asked the senator, what is your role? What did you do? They call you Nzogu. People believe in you. That is why there was a kind of revolution in Nsukka that made you. So what was your role? The senator said in this show, which is a public thing, that he approached the governor several times by text message, that he's not going there to tell the governor to stop. And he was going there to tell the governor at least with tension and a plan of where they can relocate these people, why the demolition is going on. But he was not listening to. So now, you said something about him as an outstanding figure who is also a partaker of this your gospel. So, what can you say about this Okeza's personality and qualitative representation within the shortest period he has been in the Senate, considering this kind of thought?
Okay. Well, what I can say is to refer everybody to the Constitution and see the schedule of responsibilities of a senator. A senator is not, it doesn't command an army. A senator is not it doesn't hold executive power. You understand that? A senator is to make laws and to do all he can to attract what Obasanjo calls a democracy dividend to his people. That is to represent his people and to make laws. A senator cannot go and confront a governor. A senator is not a policeman that prosecutes infringements on the law on behalf of the state. And even if a senator were that, the Nigerian constitution has conferred immunity to governors and until they leave office. You understand that? That is on what OK can do. It's advocacy. Like he said, he went to talk on behalf of his people to the governor. Now, I wrote it in that book. I wrote it in that book, as small as it is. Okay? If we lived in a civilized society and the court issues an injunction against an action, that action is not taken until that injunction is lifted. Do you understand? So I don't know how anybody can hold OK responsible for it. He has done all that the Constitution and the laws of the country empowers him to do. The only thing is, okay, the bishop ordered the second collection. That's 2 weeks back, 2 Sundays back, a second collection. Okay, and that second collection accentuated the terrible condition in which we find our people. That people who used to fend for themselves, take care of their families, and contribute even to community development are now dependent on handouts from second collection to exist. It is something that we should not forget. And by the way, it hit Nsukka hard, but it also hit the rest of Enugu because the demolitions that he made in Holy Ghost and in Garki, it affected everybody. But that of Ogige is localized in Nsukka, and we felt it more in greater numbers. Do you understand? So that is it. He can, within the limits of what he can afford, he can offer palliatives, but palliatives have been given a very terrible name description or interpretation in this our place. You understand that? So if you see somebody who ordinarily should be feeding 3 times a day, and then you give him something to have lunch one day, you can call it a palliative, but it cannot solve his problem going forward. You understand? Now, so if we have come to a situation where the executive do not are no longer held in check by the judiciary or the legislature, you cannot blame an individual who does not have such a constitutional powers from checkmating what somebody who is given that power if he wants to use it the way it has been used in this instance. Then on the other aspect of Okeza's stewardship, Okeza keeps saying it over and over and over again, and this is something that anybody can check. The budget that and that this Senate, I think this is the 10th Senate, if I remember rightly, the budget that the 10th Senate took a part in making is officially supposed to come into effect, I think, in this month, or I don't know whether it is June or July. So it is now. It is when the budget is activated, and then the companies that are going to execute the constituency projects will make the tenders and are giving the contracts. That is when they will start building things. You know, but the people that sabotage those that sabotage their people, Nsukka people in PDP, who sabotage Nsukka people, their aspirations and all that, you know, It never occurs to them to ask all these people that have been in the National Assembly for donkey years, what they have done. It is okay, and Chidi better. Who are the ones left from those that our people voted for, that they keep talking all this kind of nonsense about. And when you tell them to go to the National Assembly and confirm that the budget has not started being operated, and let me thank God for social media, because it used to be that communication was only one-dimensional. So anybody, when they just go, they say, oh, that's nonsense. So I want to thank you, Chinedu. I want to thank you sincerely, and other people like you, for providing the medium for counter narratives. So all these guys, they know what they are doing. They know that what they're doing has no basis in logic or whatever. But they think that our people are still the same mumu that they were taken for granted before now. It's not going to work. Thank you.
Wow. MC.
Thank you.
Good evening,
Hello,
sir.
MC. How are
Good
you?
evening
Good
from
evening,
this.
my dear.
Oh, yeah,
Good evening, sir,
whereby
from this part of the world.
it's one of our
Hey, my
voices.
God,
Our
where have
voices.
you now? Of London, you know. In London, you know. His picture has gone up.
Yeah, get a in Afkaman.
No, Nkikri MC. Then so his picture went up. I was greeting him and his picture went up.
MC.
Maybe okay. Of Nigeria, all the gay were all come on.
UK. On London.
On London, okay. I remember I'm a London Bridge, I could have not that.
I was wondering, okay, clear as
Okay, don't worry until he comes back.
okay, thank you, sir, for all this you have been doing. Just like I told you, the reason why I came up with this platform is just to sustain this intergenerational conversation.
Thank you.
If we don't have people like you listening to, we will lose it all.
Yes.
Because the Gen Z generation is attracted to things that are moving.
Yeah, exactly.
And their judgment is peripheral. And men like you that have passed through experience and socio-economic and psychosomatic sensitization,
exactly.
You regurgitate on ideas before you voice them out. You see whatever passes through you, experience before you come out with the response. So that is why we need people like you to continue to talk to us. I am so happy that you do not just talk vocally, because sometimes the difference between let me do some epistemological analysis. The difference between the African philosophy and the Western philosophy was storage. Look, Africans were philosophizing, but there were no storage. There were no prints, just like we did. The Western people were philosophizing, and they succeeded in writing down what they philosophized.
That is true.
It became difficult to ascertain that we had African philosophy in the contemporary era, because there is no book, there's no library, there's no academy. Instead, the memory of our elders were our library, and references to proverbial sayings, adages. That's where we could refer to our philosophy.
That is true.
So, but today, you have defined such thing because of your exposure.
Yeah.
You did not just say a thing to this generation. You printed what you said.
Yeah.
And by God's grace, it's going to go down from generation to generation.
Amen.
Thank you for doing that, sir.
Thank you.
But I want to say, your book, a crusade about a people. A people, all the soccer. And there is this concept of Nsukka. It has what it denotes, it has what it connotes, it has the contextual meaning and the conventional application.
That is true.
Now, as one of our voices and an elect, I want you to tell the whole world listening to us what Nsukka means, what it denotes, not the context, not the location.
Okay. Nsukka, to answer this question, I am going to refer you to Karl Marx. You understand? Karl Marx says that I think it was Hegel that developed the concept of dialectics, and then Karl Marx now came and said that all dialectics is dependent on the material conditions of people. That's where dialectical materialism came from. You understand? It's a function of economics. The function of economics and economic empowerment. That's all. So, Nsukka, are you aware that there was a time when Agbeni was not what we used to call under Anambra and Ndimo? Ojirazubia derived from where Anabia no Gongoro Behegabia, and they took it in a Gongoro no, if you quit Iwarazu would change because nobody knew what if you were change. So Nsukka, like all concepts, is an evolving concept. You know, when we free ourselves, by the way, you remember the Ngwe Jowodo Zoro governor? So Zoro governor, Babangida banned the Jowodo, and Hekwerekwa Jowodo Poko Yime Okwi, and Okwi became governor. So Nsukka, like any other name that anybody answers, is situational. You understand? If we come together and liberate ourselves as the majority, an average Agbaja person or Kano person will now begin to try to answer Nsukka. So Nsukka is not something that has a Nsukka. If you talk about it in etymological terms, if you talk about it in terms of where the person culturally where the person originates from, yes, Nsukka means Onyeshense. But if you now try to extrapolate, if you now try to go further to say what is the symbolism is not constant. The symbolism is a function of where Nsukka people put themselves at any material time. And I'm telling you, a time is going to come when people that derive Nsukka or who don't want to have associated with Nsukka will go like my son and your son and go to apply for a green card to become a Canadian citizen or American citizen or British citizen. You understand? So it must be given an elastic and situational description. After all, and if you talk about ancestral roots, you cannot come in Nsukka because nation. But somebody now came and they coined the Nsukka, and then Nsukka boy, then Nsukka mumu, then in 1966, By 1967, I was in class 1 in secondary school. So, no, 66, 67. Ojukwu Kubanda logo, Gonando Luga Borondeza. Can you imagine? Now go to Abakaliki now and see Umahi and anybody from Ebonyi State, especially in China, he will feel that he has come from the first world to the third world. So it is a nomenclature that we can change within half a decade if we come together and do the needful. I don't know if I have answered your question, but you must not give Nsukka. You must not give Nsukka a static meaning. Nsukka is a descriptive concept that evolves according to the way Nsukka people comport themselves.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, General. If you see how the people are reacting, I posted something, and somebody wrote something, said people are already talking about the book. He said, how can one get your book, sir?
Okay. Now,
If you look
okay.
at the screen, you can see I pin it down.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
pin it.
Okay, yeah.
If you look at the screen, you see that I pinned something somebody commented.
Oh, yeah. So,
Okay. I said,
now,
how can one get your book, sir?
yes, how one can get the book is I printed the first 100 copies, and just to cover the cost of the printing, I'm selling it for 2,500 naira. Now, these copies are virtually exhausted. All them can carry 20. But we are going to reprint it in quantity, and I have asked those who want to donate so that we print it in quantity and crash the price. Once we reach the absorption cost of the printing, then no 1,000 naira boshi after from the press, we'll sell it at 1,000. No 700 naira boshi after, we sell it at 700. Why it is going to be sold is that if you give it out free, people will not read it. And again, you are in UK. $1 is 1,500 naira. So if we sell it for 1,005, no $1. The 2.5 that we're selling it now is about $1.40 or something like that. But if we can crash it to 700 naira, whatever, we'll crash it. The idea is it's not those that will buy it that I'm interested in, is those that will distribute it, that will get other people, so that fellas,
Okay, sir. Hello, network. So our network is coming up. Yeah, I think our network is disturbing in general now. It's hanging, and we will get to it. My
sorry,
people
somebody was calling. So what I'm saying is that we are going to, depending on the number of copies that I can raise funds to print. One, the distribution will be more, and secondly, the unit price will crash. But where we can get it for now, the few copies so horn until now, okay, the few copies so horn until I raise that money. If somebody, Barrister Nebe, with office no Gui Road, Nenu. Anybody that knows Barrister Nebe, he is a lawyer of long standing. And office here, the Ijekon Stadium, Tunnel Ijekon Stadium, office here by the left. You understand? So, when you call Barrister Nebe,
office here, and then that will be it.
can number. I think we still have about 30 copies left there. But what I'm going to do is
stadium now, you have to buy a change.
Yes.
But not by right.
Yes. Exactly. But if I go back to Enugu on Monday, on Tuesday, I will go to the printer and ask him to print maybe like 500 more copies. But individuals that are buying it should try as much as possible to buy multiple copies so that they can give to other people. Because the idea is to get any youth Because it is their future that has been compromised since 1999. So that we sweep the ground off the feet of these quislings, You understand? Okay.
Now the issue now, the thing will, I'm going to post that book after today.
Okay.
Officially, I'm going to post the book on my Facebook, and
Okay.
I'm going to write contacts.
Thank you.
I'm going to
Thank
put
you.
some contacts how you can get the book. So I'm going
And
to
tell them,
publish.
and
I have
and
a
tell
partner.
them, and tell them that they should get the book and encourage others to get the book and buy for others. And tell them that if they can exercise patience for the next 2 weeks,
If me
that
that
the price of the book.
me that is in the US already, I'm already buying the book. Those of you in Nigeria should rush the book because
No, no, no. I'm going to upload the book. I'm waiting for the ISBN number. So
yeah,
when I get it, I'm going to upload it on Amazon.
you told me. Yes,
Mhm.
you have done great. This time I want to take you. I have two last questions for you, and we'll round up
Okay.
because we have spent one
Okay.
hour here. It's not easy to
Oh,
keep you for 1 hour.
okay.
So you have
Thank you.
really done great and a great sacrifice for our people. We appreciate.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
are ambassador, Nigeria ambassador to India.
Yeah.
Is there anything you saw in India that if Nigeria can apply is going to help
Okay.
us and change our situation?
Okay.
Because even if
Now,
after saying it, they are not doing it, let
yeah.
it be said. That is our
Okay.
own work.
Okay. Now, there was a film titled Mother India. Mother India was a very popular film in the 70s. And if you go to YouTube, you can watch the film. And it told the story of how indigent India was. All right, how indigent India was after when they got their independence in 1947. How terribly poor they were. There was a famine. There was no infrastructure, whatever. But they had a succession of good leaders. And in Nigeria, unfortunately, we have not been blessed with good leaders. And it is going to be very difficult for any component part of Nigeria to progress unless you have good leaders at the national level. The economy is controlled from the national level. Security is controlled from the national level. International relations is controlled from the national level, and all that. But if you speak microcosmically in a state, and again, Nsukka, or rather, well, you asked me as an ambassador, so I have to talk about the nation. So it's leadership and the maintenance of a particular ideology. India was the head of the non-aligned movement. In 1971, when India went to war with Pakistan in support of Bangladesh, President Nixon told them they can't do that, and they said no, and they went ahead and did it. That is national will. You understand? Then a functional bureaucracy. Now, all these things are things that Hillary Clinton came here when she was a Secretary of State and told everybody that the problem of Africans generally and migrants in particular was that they paid more attention to big men than to strong men than to strong institutions. And that is partly why what motivated me to take the stand that I'm taking. How can an individual come and subvert the laws, corrupt the bureaucracy, do everything without a caring, and the people that you should run to in order to get succor, even if they issue a proclamation, nobody listens to them. So there is no way, unless we get our politics right, we cannot get our economics right. That is the summary of what I can. But if you now okay, India is as that time as I was talking about Mother India, they had the mass starvation but India became a net exporter of food. You understand? It could feed. It is self-sufficient in nutrition because there is good leadership and continuity of programs. Because there is social justice, some modicum of social justice in the system. I know that the Indians that their religion or their philosophy. When I was there, they told me that Hinduism is not a religion; that it's a philosophy. You know that they have distinct classes. But even if you go to the Indian constitution, there are constitutional guarantees for the lower classes in India, and government policy reflects those things. If you read chapter 2 of the Nigerian constitution, fundamental directives and objectives of state policy, all things are put there, like federal character and giving everybody a sense of belonging. But it is honored more in the breach than in the observance. So it is our politics and our system that is responsible for bringing up the kind of people that we have. And that is why I resigned from APC, which was the government of Empower, to come and join Obi, because I was convinced, and I'm still convinced, that the symbolism of Obi coming to power is going to say that somebody who is not held hostage by institutional forces can become president. And even those of them who have been making Nigeria dry, they will now, out of fear, they will now begin to do the right thing. So there's no way that we can get to where India is unless we change our leadership recruitment paradigm. Look at the Enugu State and the last administration. When you yourself, you can imagine. Let me not say what I shouldn't say on air. But in Bonyebai and the common denominator that described Ndulile and Rokwa in the last dispensation. How can any community make progress like that? How? I'm not hearing you.
I'm sorry. I'm muted.
Okay.
But while you were talking, I'm on mute. Sorry.
Okay.
You have always shown very clear when it comes to patriotism.
Yeah.
And when it comes to identifying with integrity, identifying with transparency, and identifying with vision for a new Nigeria.
Yes.
Because for somebody like you who was a champion of APC that made you, or through their party, during the administration, you became the ambassador to India. But when there was call for movement for new Nigeria, you considered it patriotic to join Nigerians for that clarion call. And that's why you left APC to Labour Party. Okay. Now, there's something you saw either in the manifesto of the Labour Party or in the flag bearer of the Labour Party. What is that thing? And how do we sustain it even now that elections are over? Thank you, sir.
Good. The average member of the obedient movement has never read the manifesto. Even I myself have never read the manifesto of Labour Party. No, it's true. First of all, because Labour Party was a very obscure movement, so obscure entity. So except if you went to a school and they gave you a 10 paper to write on Labour Party, nobody gave a damn about Labour. Nobody knew that Labour Party existed. Not to talk of reading their manifesto. That's number one. Number two, in Nigeria, manifestos mean very little. When the campaigns for the governorship election was going on, there was a whole lot of hullabaloo about the manifesto of Peter. He will build 10,000 Pitamba. He will build 10,000 kilometers of roads, even when nobody knows whether 10,000 kilometers can even accommodate where you will provide. Manifestos mean nothing. Statements of principle mean nothing. It is the character of the person that is anchoring a cause or a movement. That is why that's why the obedient movement itself has all the members of the obedient movement have been saying that Labour Party is a vessel. If Labour Party sorts itself out and Obi remains in Labour Party, will remain there. If Obi goes to another party, we'll go to another party. Nobody will need to read the manifesto of that party, because in any case, since the time of SDP and NRC, whose constitutions and manifestos were written by public by civil servants. I'm sure that if you read the constitution of every party, it's virtually the same. You read the manifesto of every party, it's the same. We are going to provide light and water to every family. That means nothing. You understand? But it is the character of the individual that is anchoring it. Anybody that is following Labour Party today or the obedient movement today is because of Peter Obi. That is and Peter Obi is not because he has waved any magic wand. It's because he has solid credentials in the 8 years that he governed Anambra State. How many people have been governors for 8 years? And what is their credibility? So that answers your question, please.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. What it means is that obedient movement it goes
Yes.
beyond any party affiliation.
Exactly.
Principle based on character, based
That's
on quality of individuals involved and individuals who are steering the vehicle. So that is a very, very strong ideology because we cannot, if such ideologies are superior to party affiliation, what it means is that we can go far. It will navigate to victory. It's just a question of time. So thank you, sir. You are a core Nsukka man who believes in Nsukka cultural values, especially core values of Nsukka, which is integrity, transparency, and fear of God and sound morality. The generation now don't believe in hard work. Used to know one Nsukka Zoyan Ababo.
Yes.
What is your message?
That's why I told you. That's why I told you that it is an evolving nomenclature now. I said so.
Yes.
You know.
So, and Igba boy was resulting from our sincerity.
Yes.
Because all those people now they are boy in the mind. They have they cannot put to their care what they can put to the of
that is
way.
Okay.
So and Igbo people are very clever to see that my boy abroad. If you go to Alabama, if you go to Tojoso Market, if you go to Okobosi and Okokoncha, you will see
even Newi now. Sir.
The boys they are now great.
Even Newi itself.
Even in Newi, when it comes to Igbo trade. So we thank God for that. So as a Nsukka man and one of our elites who believe in Nsukka values, what is your advice to our people? Because the young generation now relegates hard work, transparency to stupor, and they are subscribing to Ego Vute and the such cause. What's your advice?
Well, if you even look at it very well, the number of our people, our young people subscribing to Ego Vute, there are not many when you compare them to the people that have enslaved themselves because of Onrashi and Ashwa. The difference between Ego Vute and Onrashi, but Ego Vute it started with Igbos in a high sea, that is to say, until Nollywood came with the film Ego Vute. But if our SY leaders have totally turned our youth into almajiris. That's PA, SSA, SA, without any job at all. After saying at the end of the month, now going on 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. The person becomes entirely useless. You know what? So the like I said, it is difficult. It is difficult to isolate any particular uh, um, part of Nigeria from the malaise that is going on. It is very difficult. But at our level, for instance, we take Adani for instance. Adani no 8 years our brother till now Adani is not connected to the national grid. Okay, nobody has repaid the dam system that used to make a multiple season farming in Adani. Uzo ejega Adani, and that is our bread basket. The 8 years our brother no bomb. Then that's that, and the security was not as terrible as it is now, you know. But what I said, maybe if it becomes economically viable, maybe a mobile police barrack working a bomb, then people can engage in production there, as was the case during Michael Okpara's time before the war. It's a disgrace, you know. It is the oil that is pumped in Adani that has now made Enugu State to be officially recognized as part of the oil producing states. So now the hand. Then Chinese or Malaysians or Vietnamese or Indians, maybe some kind of food processing industry there. Then it will now be spreading in a concentric way, you know, or osmotic way. You know what? But the mind of our people has been pauperized by the philosophy of the past administration. That is even more terrible than Ego Mbute. Because Ego Mbute, okay, they become millionaires overnight. They suffer it as individuals. But this one is that our values were corroded from within. So our problem is, Ego Mbute is a terrible problem in Nigeria, but in Nsukka, it's not a 1/10 of the problem that we have. We have built a dependency syndrome on handouts from government house. That must change. That is that is the problem is a problem of mental conditioning. We're going to go again. No, be okay. Later you carry the most beautiful girls, you drive the biggest car. But this idea of subverting the core values of an entire generation is an unforgivable sin, you know.
Hey. Wow. Hey, General. It is I don't even know how to place it. At least I am happy to be alive that this kind of thing is happening on this kind of TV. That we have opportunity to meet people like you talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. God will keep you. And God will keep you. I will reach out to some other people. I'm trying to, it's just that some of them I don't have them. I'm trying to reach out to people like Frank Mba and other people. People need to use the opportunities and start talking to us.
Amen.
Because it will
and I thank God to be alive when we have a voice, an international voice that can give the perspective of Nsukka. We thank God for people like you. You know, and we pray that you prosper, you have a long life, and that you remain committed to the cause that you are fighting.
Thank you, sir.
All right then. Okay.
Please, to
Bye-bye.
round up, what can you tell the soccer people about Chinedu and ANICHI TV?
What I got, but it's not for me to tell them now. It is those of them who have seen your product. You know, there was this advert that this slogan that they said that a company pasted in one business in the United States. So, if our service pleases you, tell others. If it displeases you, tell us. You understand? So it is the consumers of the service that you are offering, which is those that are listening to you and me, that will give you the kudos that you deserve. You understand? And my inquiry that the campaign you are carrying for I don't think that it is an irredentist campaign that you are embarked upon. I think that you are the first one with good governance. That's what I elicit from your philosophy or the core value of this institution that you have set up. And then the second one, equity and justice. George, when the elder Bush, George Bush, was president, his first son, one of his sons was the governor in Florida, one was the governor in Texas. Nobody bothered because they were treating everybody the way that they deserve, according to the American Constitution. But nearby, somebody will come and say that he came with the mandate of the people, and when he comes, parochialism, irredentism, ethnicity, whatever, is what defines his attitude to leadership. That is terrible. You know what? So the role that you are playing in trying to kind of uh, uh, change this process is what speaks volumes for you. I don't know where you get your funding that keeps this service alive, but wherever it comes from, let us pray that God will continue to sustain it. And if a day comes when Nsukka will free itself from the chains. If you look at the back of that book, there's a sign of breaking free from chains. So if it happens, then the best, the best way to repay you is to let you be one of those that will be asked to make an input into governance. That is the way that I see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, General. My people, you can see I was comfortably with a father, with an uncle. Let me shock you people. Let me shock you people. When I was going for army recruitment, there was a time we went to Basawa. There's a place we call Basawa. From Basawa, you enter depot. So after some exam from Basawa, I don't know what they want to do. So because Nigerian factor, at that point, people can exchange people and bring in people that did not even come from the state. So I don't know, just one of I did well in my exams and all these things. One of the instructors just came and told me, you are no more part of it. Go like this. You are not entering the training. I told myself, what's the problem? So somebody pointed at a man and told me this man is from Enugu State, not even Nsukka. This man is from Enugu State and is a high ranked officer. Go and complain to him what they are doing to you. I just came to that man and I explained to that man, this is, he said, who is that person? I just pointed at the corner, so yeah, what happened to this my brother? They said, okay, they didn't even ask me anything again. They put my name down, joined me with people, those people. That was the first and the last person I saw the man who did that. And my people, behold, the man who did that is this man on this show today. So I want to thank you, sir. You didn't even know me. The day I was reminding you this on phone, you can't even remember again. But I thank you for being patriotic. I thank you. So what you are doing for our people did not start today. God alone will reward you. Will
Amen.
not even reward you alone, but reward your generation and generation to come,
Amen.
for being patriotic and for standing on the side of the truth. I am happy
Thank you.
you are here. And I want to tell you, sir, if events come up, you have seen how easy it is to access this our
Mm.
TV.
Yes.
Once you have something or a burden you want to communicate to the world, feel free
Okay.
on $0, on zero naira, anytime.
Now, just let me know. Just let me know if anyone that you think should can do with my input
Thank you.
comes up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. All right. Good night. And let me shout out to people
Okay.
who have been watching this program. My responses to the question that I've asked is it comes from the heart. It's not a grandstanding. At my age, there's nothing I can gain now at this age that I have not already gained. So please, I beg everybody to internalize this um, um, task, this mission, because it is the future of our children that we're talking about. The minority that we have been that has kept us in bondage have gone very, 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 very far. And as the writer of the novel Alice in Wonderland said, you have to run very fast to be in one position. If we don't run fast now, a time will come when our grandchildren will be totally emasculated. The fact that we are talking now, myself, is a miracle, because if it wasn't that God brings up a lot of Nsukka people without the conscious efforts of those who think that they are lots of the money, maybe we would all have been brainwashed into becoming a perpetual Uncle Tons. So good night, everybody.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
I'm grateful, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Bye.
Yes, my people, my name is Chinedu ANICHI. You are seeing it was possible. When I tell you I will bring this person, I will bring the person. You can see this is Major General Chris Eze retired, the immediate past ambassador of Nigeria to India. He was live here to talk about the obedient movement. That is just an ideology. It is not just an obedient revolutionary movement. It's an ideology. This is the man who came back as an ambassador under APC. He resigned, he left APC and went to Labour Party to support PPP because of his patriotism. So that's why I invited him to tell us one or two things. He has explained to us, and today, thank you. So tomorrow also, I want to tell you, tomorrow we're having a very big group. That's what we call Congress of Igbo Leaders. Congress of Igbo Leaders United Kingdom. They will be coming here. Their leaders, about 5 of them, will be coming to this show tomorrow. So 8 p.m. Nigerian time, 2 p.m. Central American time. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. We are going to have in their leadership, we have Mazi Obiokuli will be here, and some other people, great people, will be here at the show tomorrow to tell us about the traditional values of Igbo and how it is practiced in diaspora. And they are all they have been doing in preparation for the 13th of July Igbo Arts and Culture something festival. So please, tomorrow, once it is 2 p.m. and you are in America Central Time Zone, or if you are in Eastern American Time Zone, 3 p.m. And if you are in Nigeria, 8 p.m. If you are in UK, 8 p.m. God bless you as I said. It's a man that was supposed to bring up to him, but some logistic problem happened. I don't know what happened. And MC is the MC Ebubedike in London. So he's supposed to be this show today, but I don't see the video on time. So I decided to bring up, I decided to subscribe to the general. So we are going to reschedule. Tomorrow also we'll be bringing an actor and a script maker from Enugu. Very wonderful actor. When you see the publication, the shop, the person will be coming tomorrow. On Monday, sorry, on Monday. On Tuesday, we'll be having presidents of National Association of Students of Nigeria. On Wednesday, on Thursday, throughout this week, every day we'll be having people. Great men are coming to speak to you. Once it's 8 p.m., tune in to Chinedu ANICHI TV, Central America, 8 p.m. Eastern America. Remember, we are the African Voice Diaspora. Come and talk. I love you. God bless you.